of it in every hunter deck. I mean, mid-range, face hunter, it doesn't matter. The card's just stupid, so definitely a powerful addition, hunter. Core Rager, on the other hand, pretty sure this card's not the best. I mean, 4 mana is honestly a very big commitment. In order to make the best use of this card, you're going to want a hunter deck that empties its hand fast, which is like face hunter. And if you look at current face hunter lists, they're not playing any cards that cost over 4 mana. The most expensive cards are Wolf Rider, Arcane Golem, Animal Companion. There's not usually anything that costs more than that unless they're randomly playing Leroy. So you're already playing like a card that's too expensive for a face hunter deck, but you have to play face hunter with this because you need a hunter deck that can empty its hand. Like, you don't want to be playing this in mid-range hunter with Savannah High mains, I don't think. Maybe that would be okay, but honestly, I don't think this card's good enough to make the cut. It's competing with degenerate cards like Piloted Shredder that are just way too overpowered, so I just don't expect this to see much play at all. On to Mage, though. We got Dragon's Breath. It's a hard card to evaluate because I've been playing a lot of Mage lately, honestly, and I've been trying some really unique lists with it. Like the Flood Mage deck I made on stream got really popular. And in that deck, I could see playing Dragon's Breath, and yeah, I'm playing things like Mirror Image, Arcane Intellect. I mean, basically, Mage has so many spell synergies. Manworm, Sorcerer's Apprentice, I mean, Flamewalker, as I'm about to talk about. So maybe this is playable just because it's like another decent spell that you can throw out. I don't think there's going to be room in most Mage decks, though. I think it's just a little too inefficient to really be worthwhile. Most of the time it looks like it's going to be a Shadow Bolt that can go to the face, which is definitely good, but it's not like an auto-include in Mage, I would say. So, playable, but only in some very niche decks. I don't think we're going to see much Dragon's Breath unless something crazy happens. Flamewaker, on the other hand, this is the card that Flood Mage was missing. I'm super excited for this guy. This is gonna push Tempo Mage like it's gonna cement it as a tier 1 Mage deck. I think the deck will be better than Mech because of this. Because Mech decks are a little linear right now in how they're built. You just kind of play dudes, go face. If you mess up on your curve, you lose the game. You don't have a lot of control in your draw. There's not a lot of flexibility. It's easy to play against Mech Mage. Whereas Tempo Mage, it has a lot of the same strengths as Mech Mage. You put shit on the board early, you snowball if you get ahead, and you have a lot of burn to go to the face late game. I think Tempo Mage might be the future of the class, and this card will definitely be a centerpiece of that. So, we'll see. Definitely going to be praying to have coin every single game with that deck now, but Flamewaker is very strong, and I really like this card. On to Paladin, we have Solemn Vigil. It's a card that's a bit tougher to judge. I could give you like a 30-minute speech about this thing called card velocity, I guess is what I would call it, but it's basically like the balance of card draw versus board plays in your deck. So how do I put it? A deck like Face Hunter, for example, has like 0 card velocity. It's not playing things like Arcane Intellect. It's just 100% turns its cards into board, into face damage. Whereas a deck like Druid, for example, has a really good balance of card velocity, as Ancient Allures, Azure Drakes, cards that draw you into other cards that draw you into other cards. So that as the game goes on, your hand's never empty. You always have stuff to play. Point is, Paladin is one of those decks that's pretty balanced in its curve. It has a good amount of late game, mid game, early game, just as a class when you're building it mid-range, which is generally the best list. So, because you have that good balance of curve, and it's already has a good balance of card draw to board plays, I don't think Solemn Vigil is going to see play, because you just don't need an Arcane Intellect type of effect in your deck. One thing worth noting is Paladin is one of the best classes to use this mechanic in that makes things cheaper. Like, we might see Solemn Vigil just because it's insane with muster for battle. You trade with 1 minion, 3 of your own die. It's a 1 mana draw too. It's pretty good, but I feel like it's going to make you make awkward plays a lot of times that you don't want to make. Like if you have Quartermaster, you don't really want to be trading off your muster tokens. But then if you just don't put Quartermaster in your deck, then your muster is a lot weaker. So personally, I think Solemn Vigil is just a little too awkward to really see play unless there's some sort of miracle-ish version of it that needs to be It really needs the card draw. Alright, next card's Dragon Consort. It's one of the more exciting ones in the set. I think this is the only like class dragon that got printed, and it's fucking amazing. This card's great. It's a 5-mana 5/5, which is great stats. It's exactly what you want out of your 5-mana card. Battle Cry is phenomenal. I mean, a lot of times it'll let you wreck them with the neutral 6/4 dragon. That's cheaper if minions trade off. So honestly, it's just Paladin is the class that's going to have the most fun with dragons, it looks like, just because of this card. It's really powerful. Cheating on mana has just always been one of the most powerful effects in Hearthstone by far, and I mean all card games, honestly. Those are the kinds of cards that get banned in Magic. So Dragon Consort is insane. I expect it to see a lot of play. I expect people to experiment with dragons at Paladin decks. I mean, will they be better than normal mid-range Paladin? I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully. I'm sure they're cooler. So, excited to try that guy out. Let's see. Next on to Priest, we have Twilight Whelp. Let's see. If you're holding a dragon, gain +2 health. Pretty sure this card sucks. Like, Priest already has Northshire Cleric and Zombie Chow, and in some versions of Priest, I would play an extra 1 or 2 Zombie Chows, but would I be willing to put a bunch of dragons in my deck for that? Maybe. Depends on how good they end up being in this class. The 4-mana dragon that gets buffed for every time you target it is pretty powerful in Priest, with cards like Power Word Shield, so maybe Twilight Whelp would see some play because of that, but I don't think it's quite strong enough. Like, the interesting thing is that it is a dragon, but it's one that you kind of want to get out of your hand early, so it's not really going to be enabling of other dragon cards unless you draw it late game and you already have one of those. It'll be really interesting to see how this mechanic plays out, because it's so tough to evaluate cards like this until you see how strong dragon-based class decks are. Like, how good is Dragon Priest? I don't know. Anyway, on to Resurrect. Summon a random friendly minion that died this game. So you can make this card pretty effective every time you play.
Jaina versus Garrosh. Victory or death!
You asked for it.
Blood and plunder. Blood and plunder.
Magic will tear you apart.
Jaina versus Jaina.
You asked for it. My magic will tear you apart.
serve the Fire Lord.
I'll show them. I'll show them all!
Someday I'll be just like you!
I'll show them. I'll show them all! I'll show them. I'll show them all!
Someday I'll be just like you!
Well played.
I see.
For science!
Hello. What to do? What to do?
Fools! For science! Fools! For science!
Well played.
I serve the Fire Lord.
Thank you. Well played.
I serve the Fire
played.
Lord. I serve the Fire Lord.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well played. I'm sorry. Time runs out on me. My magic will tear you apart. Well played. Thank you.
Just